This is Melissa at Let's Play Dolls and Piano. Welcome to Maddie Monday. This week's Maddie Monday is part 2 of the sleepover at Auntie Monica's house, Southern Reborn's nursery. And Monica is one of the co-hosts of Maddie Monday. Well, do we have some tales to tell of the sleepover? First of all, look at my girls. They're pooped out. There's Madeleine. Her bow's all stretched out. Her glasses are half off her face. Let me take those off so she can sleep. They're worn out. Look at poor little Hattie. So in our video last week, we were traveling to Monica's house for the sleepover. The girls were all pumped, ready to go. We got there a little late, and we had all 4 of our little dogs with us in the back, 3 Chihuahuas and a Yorkie mix. So we got there and we had to let them out in the yard to go potty. And you know, it was a strange neighborhood and they were yapping around and carrying on. And out comes one of Monica's neighbors with her little dog to walk. And she looks up in the sky and she says, "A flying pig!" And I'm like, what is this lady talking about? She must be nuts. Pigs do not fly. And I glance up in the air and there is Greco from Rebecca's Cloudkids Reborn nursery, who is a dragon, and he's flying around, and he's carrying Timon, who's from Jessica's homestead life. Timon is a pig, and Greco's flying all over the place with his feet grasped onto Timon, and this poor lady passes out in the yard. My dogs are yapping, and out comes her husband. He runs over to his wife, and he kind of pulls her up a little bit, and she comes to, and he's like, "Margaret, what's wrong?" And she said, "I saw a flying pig." Well, the guy glanced over at me, and I just kind of gave a look like I didn't know what she was talking about. And I glanced back, and he said, "Margaret, we need to get you in the house so that you can lay on the couch and rest." And he glanced over at Monica's house, and he said, "It's really jumping over at their house tonight." And I glanced over at Monica's house, and her house looked upheavaled. The blinds were half hanging off the windows, like a cat had got a hold of them. And when you looked in the window, you could see little blonde-haired and brown-haired girls, and probably a couple little boys, all looked like Maddies. And they're just all over the place. I mean, one of them was climbing up a ladder on the wall. One of them was doing something up on the ceiling fan. It looked like one of them was hanging from the curtains. And this man looks over at me. He says, "What's going over there tonight?" And I said, "Well, we're just having the little girls sleepover, that's all." He looked over there again and he said, "How many little girls?" And I said, "Well, just several." I said, "Here's my 2 little girls that are going to go join in." And he said, "Well, I didn't know if I should call the cops out here or not." And I said, "It's nothing to worry about. It's just little girls having a good time." He gave it another look and he gathered up his wife and they got back in the house with their dog. I got my little Chihuahuas and my little Yorkie Terrier back into the van. And me and Madeleine and Hattie proceeded to go into Monica's house. Well, as soon as I got in the door, I was a little surprised. Monica, when she does her videos, her house looks like it's pristine, like she's got everything in place and it's clean. Well, when I walked in her house, the blinds were hanging half off the windows. The curtains were pulled off of the curtain rods. And there was pizza on the wall. Looked like somebody had slung pizza on the wall, and it looked like some of it was up on the ceiling fan blade. So I thought, well, maybe she just only shows parts of her home when she's doing videos, So I go over into the kitchen, and Rebecca's in there, and she's wiping the counters and organizing, like, the snacks, and she's just humming away, singing away. "It's just another Maddie Monday, woo!" And I'm thinking, and maybe she didn't see what was going on in the rest of the house. And I look over, and there's Mel's 2 twins. They're her adorable twins. Mel from Living at Gigi Ma Style. And they are just shoving the popcorn in their mouth. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, those two are going to get sick if they keep doing that. And they've got popcorn in their hair, and it's falling all over the floor. And there's Mel's dog, Popcorn, and it's eating popcorn. I'm thinking, oh no, that dog's going to be puking somewhere. Then comes in Monica's little new puppy, Jax, and they start giving it popcorn. And I'm like, ooh, no, no, no. And in the meantime, Timon and Greco must have come in, and they're just running through the house, and that dragon's just flying through the house, and it was chaos. Now, you know that Rebecca at Rebecca's Cloudkids Nursery, she's the host of Maddie Monday. And we have 4 co-hosts. So there's Carol, Sweet Snuggles Dolly Nursery. She's bringing in her little darling Maddie. And then she's running around. You know, Carol, she has to drop her off. She's got places to be. And here comes Angel from Heavenly Babies, and she's dropping off hers. And there's Maddies everywhere. And if I had to tell them apart, I don't know if I really could. Shirley from Shirley's Real Life comes and brings her little adorable baby. And I'm thinking, poor baby. And one of the Maddies, one of the bigger Maddies, picks that baby up and is carrying it around. And I'm like, no, you cannot feed that baby popcorn. Now, that baby's not old enough to eat popcorn. And it can't have any pizza either. It's just not old enough. And Maritza from Dolly Lane 19, she brings in her girls. And I'm like, how many Maddies can this house hold? And there's just chaos everywhere. And I'm just looking for a place to go and get away from it all. And lo and behold, back in one of the little rooms, Geo is back there. Geo, Rebecca's Maddie, is back there reading a book, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And I'm like, oh, this is so soothing. This is just what I needed. And Geo saying, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. And I just felt so relaxed that I just dozed off. I just went out. I mean, I'd probably taken all I could take just looking at it all. And I just was laying there just in peaceful slumber, just so relaxed. I don't know how long I was in that state of being, but I came to, and things had changed. Monica's running around. Her hair is sticking out everywhere, and she just looks like her eyes are all big, and her hands are up, and she just looks totally bewildered. And she's saying, everybody's got to go home. I can't take any more. And she's on her cell phone, and Rebecca's on her cell phone, and they're calling all of the Maddie mommies to come and pick up their girls. The time has come. And I hear something outside, a car pull up out in front of Monica's house, and the horn's honking. There's some sort of whistle blowing. And 4 of these little Maddie girls, little tiny things, they just scamper out of the house and across the front porch and out through the lawn and to the car that's there, and they just all kind of file in and door shuts and take off. I'm like, what was that about? And Monica said, that's Cena getting her 4 little rugrats. And I look over, I'm back in the living room now, and I look over and there's a lamp knocked over and busted in the floor, and I'm like, ooh. Well, I think Rebecca said that she's going to have to pay for that one. So I gather the 2 girls, and we get our stuff, and we get out to the car, and the dogs are barking, and we get on down the road, and I said, girls, did you have a good time? And they're like, we had a blast. And they're laughing, and they thought it was the greatest thing. And I said, Hattie, where's your shoes? Did you leave them at Auntie Monica's house? And Madeleine's like, well, sort of. And I said, what do you mean, sort of? And it's like they didn't want to tell me where Hattie's shoes were. So I had to get the Pinocchio doll. Now, when we get the Pinocchio doll out, you have to tell the truth. Because just like in the story of Pinocchio, where if you tell a lie, your nose grows. And Madeleine said, "No, Mom, not the Pinocchio doll." And Hattie said, "No." And I said, "Yes, the Pinocchio doll. Now where is Hattie's shoes?" Okay, the rest of this story has to be told in the dark, behind closed doors. So the kids were eating all this popcorn and pizza and all these treats, and they were feeding it to the animals. And what do you think is going to happen? Well, first Madeleine told me that the animals had had too many treats, and one of them did the doo-doo in the floor. But when I got the Pinocchio doll back out, then she changed the story that Hattie had had too many treats. She did the doo-doo in her underwear, and Madeleine tried to help her change her underwear, and the doo-doo fell out in the carpet in Monica's bedroom, and that Madeleine ran to get some wipes. And when she was pulling Hattie's underwear off to change them, the doo-doo fell in the carpet, and the animals were running around, and guess what? They ran right through the doo-doo. And then Hattie lost her balance, and she stepped in it. So the animals are tracking it all over the house, in the carpet. So Madeleine took off Hattie's shoes, and the animals come running by. And Popcorn, which is Mel's dog from Gigi Ma Style, and Jax, which is Monica's dog from Southern Reborn's nursery, each grabbed a shoe, took off with it, went out the back door, the doggy door, into the backyard, dug a hole, and in each one buried one of the shoes. So I said, "You mean that Hattie's shoes are buried in a shallow grave in Monica's backyard?" I can only imagine what it smelled like in Monica's bedroom. And all of the brown smears in the carpets. Which means that Rebecca only had to pay for a lamp. What, maybe $50? Maybe a nicer lamp, $100? But I've got to pay for carpets. Now, whether they can professionally clean these carpets and get that stuff out of there, because it's probably dried and rotten by now, or if the carpets are going to have to be pulled up and replaced. I am not going to be buying any dolls for quite a while. In fact, they're just going to have to bill me, and I'm just going to have to pay it as I can. Because Monica's going to hear this video. I'm just fooling myself to think that she won't find out who did it. And so she's going to find out, and it's just the right thing to do. Just come up with a payment plan, and I'll pay it off as I can. But I can tell you for a fact that this was not just another Maddie Monday. So if you did not take your little ones to this sleepover at Monica's house, you can probably be thankful for that. It's just another Maddie Monday. Whoa!